it's really important when we practice our techniques, whether it's for defense or attack or a continuous attack, flowing. When I execute my techniques, I want to make sure I do it in a way that's powerful. And it's really important to think of the difference between power and force. Okay? I don't want to be forceful with my technique. So if I have his arm, I'm not going to try to just jerk him down to the ground as hard as I can. He's going to pick up on that tension. Okay, first of all. Secondly, if I have to force it, I'm not using the right tool for the job. I'm trying to turn a bolt with a hammer. Understand? When all I really need is just a wrench. Okay? So when I execute my techniques, I want to make sure I do it in a way that I don't have to do anything. It should feel effortless. The person should feel light to me, like moving a feather, lifting a feather versus lifting a brick. Okay? So he should feel like a feather. The idea is an effortless transmission of energy. I'm going to take this energy and put it all on him. He's going to feel that moving through him. Okay? So, an example. If he grabs my wrist, and I come in to do this technique here, if I push, see how he kind of moved, but watch his body. That's me pushing as hard as I can. Another way to do this is to do it correctly. See the difference? I use two hands to try to push him. He's strong. I use one hand in just the right fashion, and it whips all the way through him. Okay? You see this? Whoa! As opposed to, ooh. So, push. Or I do it the right way. Okay? So there's a difference. That's one thing. The second is when I do my technique, if he pushed into me right now, I shouldn't be going anywhere. I shouldn't be moving. Push into me. This shouldn't happen. He pushes into me. He should feel like he's pushing into a wall. Okay? So we can check our techniques halfway through. It's a really good habit to get into. Just halfway through your technique, just stop. And say, push on me. If the person can move you, you're doing it incorrectly. Okay? So power. So the power here comes in different forms. One is knowledge. Okay? I've got to have the knowledge. I've got to know how to do the technique. Use the right tool for the job. Do it in the right way. Okay? At the right time. Okay? It's when and what. I'm doing it appropriately. The second thing is experience. I've got to have these experiences. I've got to have it break down in training. That's how I'll learn. If my uke is totally 100% cooperative all the time, then I'm not going to get an opportunity to check it. Am I doing it correctly or not? So give them opportunities to test you. Okay? Test your stability, test your positioning, test the technique against some sort of resistance to see if you're doing it correctly or not. So be sure to add all that in. So it's a genuine power, not an artificial power. It's a genuine sense of confidence as opposed to an artificial confidence, a false confidence. Okay? Be sure to give that a try. So let's go back to some of the basic techniques. Stop about halfway and have them push on you and see if you're in the right position or not. Okay? So now we know I got to perform the technique correctly. Really, really important. When we move, you have to move correctly too. So you have a technique, you're applying it correctly, using the right tool, but make sure you're moving it in the right way. Don't forget to move from your center. Okay? If you're wearing a uniform and you have a belt on, move from your belt knot. Okay? Don't move from your head. So back to that grab again. If I'm trying to do this arm bar, I don't want to lean in and try to do it with my arms. Okay? When I move in, I want to move in from here. So, I have to get closer to him. Not I'm not going to do this to try to inch my way closer. Okay? Instead, move your belt closer. Okay? Understand? How do I get this belt closer to his belt? Oh, that's good. It's a good result. Understand? As opposed to the difference between the two? Just moving my belt in. I haven't even really done the technique yet. Okay? So really get that belt moving. All right? Next thing to do is we're going to practice. I'm going to get a really good technique on him. Push against me. He pushes. I'm not going anywhere. At this point, I want to abandon this technique so he can punch or whatever and go into another technique. Understand? So he pushes into me. Good. He pushes again. Whoa. What can I get from here? Oh, there's a technique. Understand? Now, go ahead and do that exercise, and then we're going to build on this exercise. Okay? Push. He's pushing against you. You're in a solid position. You got a good technique. Abandon the technique when they're pushing, so they come at you, and then do another technique. Okay? So, we have this exercise now. I'm going to get into my arm bar. He's going to test me to make sure it's okay. All right. I'm going to let it go and flow into another technique. Now, we're going to break these techniques, like we've done in this series, into 5 different categories. Okay? And your task is going to be to come up with the response from each of those categories for this technique. So he grabs, I come in here. The first category is striking. Okay? So he resists me. I'm in a good stance. He resists again. Boom. What striking techniques can I come up with from here as a response to his resistance? All right? So play with it. See what you come up with. Okay? Maybe just some examples. He resists. He resists again. Maybe. Bam. I'm thinking about striking him as I'm doing my techniques. Okay? Okay. So now we're back to this example again. I'm stepping in. I'm getting my technique. He's pushing. I got a good stance, good positioning. He's not affecting me at all. It's really important to know that the only thing I really can control is myself. I can't force this person down to the ground. I can't make them stop fighting me. I can't do anything. Only thing I can do is discourage him, make it so it's discouraging, so he doesn't want to fight me anymore. Try to influence him that way. I can affect his physical balance and his mental balance to really take him off of his game and make it really difficult for them to be strong or effective against you. But ultimately, all I really can control is myself. So these are exercises that are really for you to internalize this martial art so that way you're doing the right stuff to the best that you can. That's all you can do is do your best. So give it your all when you're practicing. Make sure you're really crisp and in the right place and doing the techniques correctly, not kind of blowing off your practice or taking it half-heartedly. Take it seriously. When he pushes, this time we're going to let him come up, same scenario, except this time we're going to execute a wrist lock. That's another category. So we did striking response. Now we're going to do a wrist lock response. So what wrist locks can you come up with from here? Okay? The answer is all of them. That's the answer. But you need to experience that and make it so it's one of the tools in your tool belt. Okay? So that way you can come up with all those wrist locks. So then you can determine which one you want and then why. I might want to take him that way. Maybe there's another attacker coming. And if the other attacker comes from this side over here, then me taking him in this direction really doesn't make much sense. Does it? No. He comes in with that punch. Me taking him in this direction makes a whole lot of sense. Okay? So I mean, you choose which wrist lock to take. So I'm here. His buddy's coming. He's coming to punch. Yeah. Ooh. It might be better to do one of those. Okay? So make sure you're choosing the right one. Now, how do I choose the right one? Well, first of all, you've got to have the ability to choose the right one. So you have to do these types of exercises so you have developed those skills that you can flow from one technique to another and then be able to choose which technique. So you can do any technique from any position. Okay? Then you have the ability to choose appropriately with some practice and experience. Okay? So go ahead and do this exercise. Go ahead and do that exercise again, but this time it's a wrist lock response to that punch and push. Okay? Go ahead and give that a try. Thank you. Okay, so we've looked at striking as a method to defend against this resistance. We've looked at wrist locks as a method to defend against this resistance. Let's look at the next category, which would be arm bars and knee bars. So I've got him bent over in an arm bar. He tries to stand up, checks my position. He tries to stand up again. He punches. There's an arm bar against his resistance. Maybe, just maybe, he resists. He comes back in. Maybe I bar his knee to take him down. Okay? So you decide. See what you come up with. Arm bars and knee bars. Try to be creative. Play with the timing. Do I do it at the same time as he's punching? Do I do it before he punches? Do I do it after he punches? Okay? Or do a combination? All right? So see what you come up with. Arm bars and knee bars response to this resistance. Okay? So we had a striking response. We had a wrist lock response. We had an arm bar or knee bar response. Another category in this series is shoulder locks or hip attacks. Shoulder locks and hip attacks. So same technique. For the sake of making a good example, check my stance, make sure it's good. He's not moving me. Okay. He comes back. Get that shoulder lock. Ooh. Take him down. Let's try it again. Come in, checks my balance, he comes back again. So all I'm doing, when he comes back, I'm making sure he doesn't hit me with this hand. I'm doing that scoop. Okay? Or here, checking my stance, good. He comes back in. There's that hip check that we were practicing the other day. Down. Comes back. Whoa. There's that hip check. Okay? So, hip attacks, shoulder attacks. Give it a try. So, from this one position, when he resists, we've practiced punches. We've practiced wrist locks. We've practiced arm bars and knee bars. We've practiced shoulder locks and hip attacks. The last category of the series that we want to make sure that you practice is the throwing category. So from here, he checks my stance. My stance is good. He comes back at me. Go ahead and throw him. Okay? Take him over you. One more time. Check my stance. He comes back. Whoa. Go ahead and toss him. All right. Last piece here. We've got punching defenses, wrist lock defenses, arm bars and hip attacks. Arm bars and knee bars, shoulder locks and hip attacks, and throws are the 5 categories that we're putting together here in this series as our core basics. When we practice this way, if we use this training method where I'm checking my stance, okay, he comes back up, I let him do what he's going to do. Boom, I punch. I throw an elbow lock. He comes back up. Now it's a throw. You can mix and match them. You don't have to do them in that order. And you can do a combination of them. Throw strikes in there, throw throws in there, throw a wrist lock in there. I want to strike and then get a wrist lock. I want to strike and then get a throw. I want to strike and then get a shoulder lock of some sort. I want to strike and get a hip attack of some sort. I want to strike and get a knee bar. I want to strike and get an arm bar. Okay? So you start to choose techniques. If you're really creative, you'll make a matrix of some sort. You write down all the techniques this way, and you write all the techniques this way, and then you just mix and match them. Go down and fill in every little square. Wrist lock into a shoulder lock. Make sure I practice that combination. Arm bar into a knee bar. Arm bar into arm bar. Arm bar into wrist lock. Arm bar into shoulder lock. Arm bar into throw. So on and so forth. Okay? So you can methodically go through and train on all these aspects. Okay? This series is not intended to replace training at a qualified Jizaikan school with a qualified Jizaikan teacher. Okay? To quote Mr. Eichenberg, these are the mechanics of basic techniques, and these are the bricks that you build a foundation with. You got to train with a qualified teacher to get the mortar. So all the secrets that we put in here into our curriculum, and all the tactics, and all the strategies and philosophies, and then the Kuden oral transmission that you can only get from a Jizaikan instructor. So definitely don't view this series as a replacement of training with a teacher.